It's a small world. You don't know where all I have not been. My name is Perin B Dittia, and my age at the moment is 94.
And where were you born?
I was born in Durban, South Africa.
South Africa.
Yeah, in Durban, South Africa. And I came out to India when at the age of 21. Wife of late B.F. Dittia, IAS. I was born in Durban on 11th February 1928. I had my education, etc., in South Africa, and I came out to Bombay in 1921 when my parents felt I should be settling down. But I grew up in the worst part of apartheid. Everything was segregated. Even the bus, you had only 4 seats, and that seats included Africans, Indians, and Anglo-Indian. So I used to walk for miles. I worked for miles because every time the bus would stop, sorry madam, no seat. Even the beach was segregated. You were not allowed to climb, to use the lift. You had to walk up. And there are many things like that, I mean, hindrances. And I used to travel by boat. That time, the low tonnage boats. It was called the cargo come passenger. So the whole of East Africa ports we would stand. And it was so nice. At that time, the decks and all are opened up. Earlier, it is segregated. You cannot move into the white side. That was segregated. So when the boat comes into port midstream, there were hardly 2 ports. Midstream, you had to come down in other stairs and jump into a little boat. And that people of Parsi who were living in that particular place, every boat they would come up, and if they found a Parsi passenger, they would take them and show them around and bring them back. Mind you, I used to wear a sari, no English clothes, and jumping into that boat with a sari.
That's amazing.
And so there were many little things like that where education, yeah, that is very important. Education, unfortunately, no colleges except one night college. Colleges were there in Johannesburg, but my parents to send me to Johannesburg and to stay away, etc., etc. And then this is a night college, so also I could not go for higher degree. So I went in for shorthand typing by an English lady who taught me shorthand typing. And that came very useful for my husband because I used to type out his confidential letters, and when we traveled, all the arrangements, etc., to be made. So I have that lot of sort of experience. I did learn driving there, but unfortunately, I learned driving, but I'm sorry to say I didn't have the nerve. Where my sister-in-law learned, and she did beautifully. But I came to show off when I came back, and so my husband said, we were building a house next door, and we used to have to come to see the work. And he says, you are talking a lot about your driving, let's see how well you drive. So, as usual, I just scraped an auto. That was the end of it. That was the end of it.
An auto
Yeah.
when you, oh.
And then he was to go to Paris for a year. So he says, and he used to call me baby. But when he was angry, he used my name. So he said, somebody will put you inside, there'll be nobody to take you out. So the government is giving us a driver, etc. So you just forget about it and enjoy the driver.
Very good story.
And then my brothers, when I got married, they gave me a typewriter because unfortunately my writing is very bad. So they said, they all called me baby, you just type, please. We don't want your handwritten letters. But my mommy said, that is okay with the boys, but I want a letter in Gujarati. So I was taught Gujarati there. Then, age of 21, my aunt and my cousin visited Durban, South Africa. You can't imagine, my brother, my father had to put a heavy deposit to the government, and that will be only given to them when they return. With a great difficulty, they gave a visa for them to come. Otherwise, there was no visa. They were not giving visas for marriage also. So my brother, who became a doctor, and my mother was keen that he should also settle down. So he specially requested Cape Town government. So they said, since you have explained the condition that there are none of your people here, we give you special permission if you marry a woman that is an asset to your community. So luckily, he married my sister-in-law, who was a cancer specialist, internationally known. So his life started that way. My parents thought a good idea with my aunt, I should go to Bombay. My dad was very keen that I marry one of my cousins. I said, nothing doing. My mommy said, quite right, baby, nothing doing. You go to Bombay. And I came to Bombay, and a year my uncle passed away, and my cousin was very, very upset. So the doctor said, told my mom, auntie, take her out on a trip, on a tour. So she settled down a bit. So at that time I was in Bombay, and my aunt gave me full charge to look after the house. Though my mother was there, my aunties were there, and they were quite cheesed off. I पोती को घर चलाने को बोले. Then naturally, my parents were quite keen I should settle down. And then my late husband, he was assistant collector, Aurangabad. He started his career from Aurangabad as assistant collector. So my mother-in-law said, where am I going to run around with you to district to district? It's time you settle down. So she told her 3 daughters, you better find somebody suitable for your brother, Bejan. So they had lined up some young women in Bombay, and you see how destiny plays. There was one aunt of mine, they live in Baghs, Khusro Bagh, Shapur Bagh. So one of my mommy's younger sister lives in a Bagh. And we happened to come to visit her, and my husband's sister-in-law came to introduce my husband to her sister-in-law. So that's where we just said, hello, hello. We went up and our way. Next day, a telephone call comes to my aunt. The person we saw near the lift, is she in the marriage market? So my mother a little orthodox. So my aunt told my mother, ये सब नखरे नहीं करना, ये ज्योतिष को बताओ, हैन नहीं करो, वो करो. Now you just keep quiet and let her destiny go. So they rang up and rang us up and said Bajan would like to meet Perin. So they came home for a cup of tea, etc. Usual. Then he asked my mother, I would like to take her out and speak to her. So my mother said, fine, but you have to be back at this certain hour. So he, of course, for me, for the life of me, it didn't occur to what IA stood for and what an important IS thing was. Because he got a lot of proposals in Hyderabad, but my mother-in-law said, कि मैंने पैसा वाली बच्ची नहीं होना, घर चलाए ऐसी बच्ची होना. So we met, and of course he talked, what are your hobbies, what was your education, etc., etc. And do you always wear Western clothes or you're on a sari? I said, it depends where I'm going. So that was that. Then naturally, after a while, he came back. He came and told his mother. And then he returned with the proposal that we would like to get married. And you know, he had the cheek to tell me, you know, after meeting you, I met so many others. I said, that's very good. Then why do you come to me now? So he had a good laugh. And then life began. We got engaged, बोले तो रुपया पे नाते ना, not proper engagement, just to say that you are mine now. And we were in Aurangabad. In Aurangabad is overnight to Bombay. So my mother-in-law said, what is this running after a woman so much? Every Saturday, Sunday you want to go and meet. एक ठीक बात नहीं है. So he said, Mommy, you want a daughter-in-law, na? So you just keep quiet. And that's how life began. And of course we got 1951. At that time, you know, heavy government went through a difficult period. So you were only allowed 25 people and you could only serve sweet drinks, nothing else, just a sweet drink or an ice cream. That is the period I got married. But at home, you know, our people have a way of doing things. So all our cousins and friends were called, not more than 25, giving order for a typical Parsi wedding feast. So it went on like that. Then we have 4 days of ceremony, etc. And as usual, all happened. And then we got married and then posted to Aurangabad. In Aurangabad, it was very interesting because there were a lot of Parsis and IGP Rustamji, who became the border IG for Indira Gandhi. And entertainment, Aurangabad had a club, and I used to play tennis, badminton, etc. So we had a nice evenings to go to. But Aurangabad, a place like Aurangabad also, cooking on a coal stove, lakri ka chula. Lakri ka chula. So, with the Almighty's blessings, He made me a very adjustable person. So, for me, I said, my life is not going to be here always. Better days will be coming. And it did happen. In Aurangabad, we used to get like Navroz, New Year, and all the Parsis and the not so high up Parsis all get together, and they used to tell me, "No, Perin, you have to make kebabs." And Rustam ji said, "Not one or two, huh? एक दो नहीं चलता यहाँ तो पीते भी तारी भी पीते ने खाते भी ऐसे कि तुम्हारा दो चार कबाब नहीं चलता." So they warned me, you better make a good quantity of that. And Aurangabad was such a place where all the VIPs came because Ajanta Lora. Because of Ajanta Lora case, and Ditya was asked to accompany them always there. And our good fortune, we went Mrs. Roosevelt, and even Bevan, and all the big VIPs. And we took a photograph with them also. And it carried on that way. From Aurangabad, sort of a more civilized place. Then we were deputy collector Nanded, and that time it was Maharashtra, not AP and all, Maharashtra. So in Nanded again, nice Parsi families, nice get-togethers, etc., etc. But one experience I must tell you. My husband said, "You big talk about your baking and this and that. Now my friend's son's birthday tomorrow, you better bake a cake." So on the कॉल एक सगरी आते ना, सगरी के ऊपर बॉक्स अवन डाल को केक बनाए, आइसिंग अच्छा करे, put it in the water and kept it, no frigidaires that time, put it in the water and kept it. It's सुबह ले जाएंगे. What happened? Cat got in. The cat got in and nibbled part of it. My God. Now what am I to do? So I patched it up with more icing and made it a better looking cake. Another experience in Aurangabad, वो सफ़ेद कद्दू आता ने. I never knew that. We always said करेला करवा रहता, cucumber करवा रहता, पर कद्दू की बात मैं कभी नहीं सुनी. So my mother-in-law said that कद्दू गोश्त पकाओ. So I said ठीक है. I made kaddu gosh the Parsi way. He says, "Perin." I said, "Yes." "You didn't taste the kaddu? Taste the kaddu?" "I've never heard of it." He said, "Well, you never heard of it, so you better learn now. Kaddu bhi karwa aata." We had to throw the whole thing away. If you see my biodata, you will know much more better. Yeah.
Will you tell us about your hobbies or
Yeah.
your interests or what it was and how they are different?
In my hobbies, of course, I said I like cooking, and I like not only one type of multi-cuisine cooking I like. Then I like my sports. I like to play tennis. I was a tennis captain in my school. And then in school we had other games which I participated in. And I never said no to anything. If we had to do the Irish jig, I would willingly do it. Anything that came my way, I never stepped back.
You said yes.
So that way I had a very interesting school life also. And the girls used to be a little jealous because the principal always sent me to the boys' college if I had to give a note. If the sister had to send, the principal had to send something to the Sastri college, where our college was here, and there was opposite, they would send me. So they used to be quite jealous. Why? Why are she's asking you all the time? I said, don't ask me, go and ask her.
Perin Aunty, we'll come back to your article and all the other things I know about you. So, where you have a great sense of charity, but it comes from you just wanting to help people and do good. Where does that come from? Where was that instilled in your psyche, in your life?
You know, you see, I think from childhood, there were certain friends of mine, not, I mean, big family friends, and not a very highly income group people. And I would like, and they would, crave, eh, like you have biryani, I called it biryani thing. So, because whenever we went for a picnic, I knew these poor girls what they're going to bring. So I said, you don't worry, I'll bring sandwiches for all of us. Then I should tell my mommy, at least once or twice a month, call them over for a meal, give them the typical palau, etc., etc., because at home, mommy will cook quite a bit and she'll pack up something for them to take home also. Then one day we went on a picnic that I don't remember, but went on one holidays in Durban. Poor thing, she's passed away just last year. She says, Perin, I said, what now? You remember? Remember what? I said, remember what? We went on a picnic. You had a blazer and you had a pink, she said, pink jersey inside. You know what? I'll never forget, Perin. You took off your blazer and you gave me the pink jersey to wear. So it just naturally. And then I felt, I think God just gave me sense. It is not that, it just occurred to me. I don't know how. All this, what I have done, you'll see, I really didn't know how I would do it and what I would do. But it just came. It just came that God has put you on this earth, which I taught my children. You're not here for yourself, you are here to help others. You understand? That is all from within.
Been honored often as a bit of a pioneer, doing things, interesting things. You've been part of clubs. You've written your that cookbook with the
Yes.
recipes, um, and you're still continuing to be active, right? So, what is your advice to the younger generation?
The younger generation should show more respect for elders, which they are not doing today. Never compare yourself to somebody else. Be proud of yourself for what you are. Study hard, you will be rewarded. Yeah, we are human beings. We are not perfect. We have our moods. I'm not perfect. I also lose my temper. Be happy with what you have. There are people who don't even something to wear. So keep all that in mind, that you are fortunate to have all this on you. But how I did it, Bhagwan Allah ko malum. And then your mother here, so encouraging, and she's put me up in the limelight.
Sameer's work, all that. She's been a great help.
There was, even I had a letter from Nasser school, but one thing I must tell you, Sameer, that's come in the biodata about my experience in Kurnool. So kind of you. And say,
Thank you.